my gosh, you won't believe what someone said to me the other day. It was so interesting. I was telling them about my travels throughout Southeast Asia before I was married, They were puzzled and asked, "What? You went on that trip alone? Didn't it get lonely?" So later I was thinking about that, the difference between solitude and loneliness. So today we're going to talk about how to be alone but not lonely. Because I know that loneliness is something that many of us struggle with, but it's not often talked about. I mean, you can be in a room full of people or a home full of kids and still feel lonely. Would you like some coffee? Or as the Brits say, would you like a coffee? I just brewed it. There you go. Welcome to my home. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new here, I'm Rena Hedeman, and this is Thrive After 45, a place where women can come for open, candid conversations about our bodies, our feelings, life changes, new dreams and desires, and all sorts of things facing women. Let's dive into this whole idea of solitude. It's interesting, isn't it? Some people, especially introverts, find solitude really comforting. It's like their personal recharge station. They need that quiet time to feel energized and at peace. But hey, extroverts aren't aliens to this either. They might love the buzz of people around them, but they also find magic in those quiet moments alone. But it's not about being a certain way, introvert, extrovert, it really doesn't matter. We all need some solitude on a regular basis. It's about finding what works for you. Here's the thing, being alone and feeling lonely are two totally different experiences, don't you think? I mean, you could be at the busiest party and still feel like you're the only one there. I remember when I lived in New York City after college, it's a fun place to be, especially in your early 20s. But the weird thing, even though I had a lot of friends there were many times when I'd be walking down the street just feeling lonely. It's not about where you are, it's about how connected you feel to the people around you and how connected you feel to yourself. In many ways, solitude is actually kind of awesome. Think about it. When you're by yourself, you get to do stuff you love, uninhibited, without anyone interrupting you or watching you. When I'm alone, like when I'm cooking, I'll dance around the kitchen, blasting my favorite music. And I often sing in the shower or when I'm in the car. And I bet many of you do the same thing. Come on, you can admit it. You and an imaginary James Corden belting it out together, driving down the road. Whether it's cooking, driving, walking, or just even daydreaming, those moments can be pretty awesome. So being alone doesn't necessarily mean feeling lonely. It's all about how we look at it. Solitude allows us to explore ourselves more deeply and build a stronger bond with who we are deep inside. We do have a relationship with ourselves, after all, and it is the most important relationship we'll ever have. Think about it. Don't you sometimes talk to yourself or find yourself going back and forth in your mind about something? You think one thing and then you question that thought and think, well, on the other hand, let me know in the comments if you ever do that. Spending time alone is actually an opportunity to become our own bestie, to reflect and perhaps address things we've been ignoring or just not seeing. When we're constantly surrounded by others, or we've got just too much on our plate and we're always rushing from one thing to the next, that's when our busyness tends to cover up or mask our inner feelings. But over time, these feelings eventually emerge, affecting our mood and making us wonder, what's going on? It can be really confusing. And it's often because we haven't allowed ourselves the time and the space to pay attention and to care for our inner needs. I remember once, maybe 15 years ago when I was a decorative artist. That was before I went back to school to become a life coach. I was painting a mural on a wall in this huge, beautiful house. The homeowners were out, so I was all alone painting there. Now, I loved my work, so normally I'd be happy as a clam, but on that day, some very strong feelings unexpectedly came welling up inside, and as I was painting, I just started crying. I remember thinking, what am I doing here? I actually don't like this anymore. This is not who I am anymore. There's so much more to me. I have so much more to give the world, so much more to explore and do. Who am I now? What do I even want? Where am I going? And then, seriously, this felt like it 100% came out of nowhere. I suddenly dropped to my knees and started sobbing right there in this stranger's house. I couldn't stop. It was like I almost wasn't controlling my own body. It was awful. I think my life raising 3 kids, driving them all over the place, volunteering at their schools, running a business, and trying to deliver my personal and professional best 24/7. I know you guys know what that's like. Just gave me zero time and mental space to think deeply about anything, much less listen to whispers from the universe or that small voice within. I was just racing from one thing to the next every single day, trying to check all the boxes off my to-do list, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comments if you get that. I was always so busy, I didn't hear any whispers until they literally became so loud, I crashed. But you know what? That was a huge turning point for me. That was the catalyst I didn't know I needed. Not because my life was terrible. My life was fine. And from the outside looking in, it looked fantastic. But sometimes we get so damn busy going, that we don't hear the universe whispering to us. So that's why being alone, being by ourselves, even being a little lonely is an opportunity, because it can allow us the space to hear those whispers from the universe and finally see those insights deep within. So sometimes we need to realize that the most important part of our schedule is time with ourselves. No matter how busy we are, we can't put ourselves last. Just the way we nurture our kids or our loved ones and spend time with them and show them unconditional love, we need to do that for ourselves too. Because if we don't, we might look for those comforting feelings in food or alcohol or shopping. We want to feel good, and hey, those things can do the trick, for the moment anyway. And we deserve to feel good. So we have to give ourselves that loving, nurturing alone time. And I mean alone, without social media, without reality TV, without the news. That's all designed to grab your attention at all costs. And guess what? Negativity grabs attention. Fear grabs attention. Gossip gets attention. Horrible accidents get attention. Meanness even gets attention. Those do not obviously nurture you or provide unconditional love. So instead, maybe go for a walk outside, even if it's just for 15 minutes, or stretch or do yoga for a bit. Play music that aligns with your desired mood. Calm and relaxed or fun and energetic. A lot of the time, it's when we're alone by ourselves that our deepest truths come to the surface. Whether they're light bulb epiphanies that excite us, or they're truths we really don't want to face, but ultimately we know we need to. Now, if you find yourself in a season when there aren't many people around you, or maybe there are, but you just don't have meaningful connections with them, or perhaps you're an empty nester and you love your spouse, but you hardly ever spend time with friends, maybe it's time to shift your mental and physical energy by going to new places sometimes or doing some interesting activities. Try new things. Do things that make your heart happy. Think of it as a series of little adventures. It doesn't have to be a big trip around Southeast Asia alone like I did after I found out that my then fiance was cheating on me. It might be something right in your neighborhood. But if you do have a chance to travel alone, it's very empowering, let me tell you. Either way, it's a chance to discover more about who you are, to take care of yourself, and to grow. It's not about being cut off from others. It's about enriching your life with you in it. Once again, it's about being your own best friend and enjoying spending time with her. When you're good with being alone, you bring so much more to your relationships. It's about being confident, less dependent, and really being there for others in a meaningful way. So just remember, being alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely. Those moments by yourself, think of them as opportunities to grow and to learn more about the incredible person you are. Even when you're alone, you're really not alone. There's a whole world out there. But sometimes the best companion is you. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me and talking about this. If you've got your own stories or thoughts about being alone or feeling lonely, drop them in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. And if you liked this video, I hope you'll let me know in the comments, and please share it with people who might need to hear it. Take good care of yourself, and remember, both your alone time and your time with others are precious.